Ow. Yeah, so whatever I was saying, I don't even remember. So after much consideration, I have decided to depart with our adjustable ST springs in favor of some standard H&R springs. We've already done a step-by-step on how to actually replace these. So the vibe of today is gonna be more like you're hanging out in the shop with me, doing some work, keeping the swears to a minimum. If you forgot what happened with these ST springs, this is what it was. In addition to doing the springs, I'll now be able to install the camber caster plates up front and the adjustable arm for camber in the rear, which means we can run our bronze wheels finally, which I'm pretty hyped about. So let's get to work. I'll probably be passing on the misery, just kidding, giving away these ST springs at some point. So if you drive a Mark 8, or actually a Mark 7, because these are the same ones that they used for Mark 7, you might be the lucky winner of adjustable, non-adjustable springs. Before I get too wild and crazy, I need to do the thing that I should have done first, and that's take off the ride height sensor. That makes for a bad day when you break that guy. So I grabbed these pliers to deal with these clips. However, all that happens is it just mangles up the clip. Worse than if you just use a screwdriver. So just use a screwdriver, I guess. Consider them to be a few time use. That's because that's better. That's better. This guy, this is our ride height sensor we need to take off. That's the one everybody forgets. Then you end up breaking it. All right. Just trying to make sure that not too much stress on my wires. Time to move back up top. The reason that I shoved that back is to push the axle as far out of the hub as I could. Okay, we got 3 bolts up on top. This is why I like to do it this way, because you can do it mega fast. Before it was resting the hub on my belly. Now I don't want to because I'm gonna get stabbed. It does kind of suck juggling this whole big unit. There we go. There we go. That's not the right one. You know how I know I need a 27? Because I wrote it on there to overcome my own terrible memory and, well, stupidity. That's about all we'll need of that. I know, I always just feel like I'm fumbling like a fumbleina here. All right, one nut off. Get our hat off. Get our spring out of here. We'll just leave that ticking time bomb down there. Since we had to modify this hat, I'm gonna just keep it with these. So whoever installs these next doesn't have to mess with any of that. We can get our spring, words facing up. I actually have something fun on the back to tell you guys when we get there about these particular springs. What I did last time was I took a zip tie and zip tied the bottom of this spring on, that little rubber isolator piece. That kind of holds it in place. One of my more industrious inventions. Put our dust boot on. The H&R springs come with new bump stops. That guy on. Put our dust boot and hat on. This is that notch that corresponded to the other notch on our OE hat. We still need that facing right where the sway bar end link goes. And then we have our new 034 hat that's gonna go on. That lines up like that. Now what's cool about this thing is you actually don't need the spring compressor to go back together with it. You can get the bolt started. Sometimes you have to kind of get back here and pull it together a little. But you can start it, and you don't need to compress the spring. How much fun is that? Yeah, nothing like putting nice looking parts on that you'll never ever see. Ugh, there we go. Rotate your hat just like that. Oh, by the way, another reason why I like to take this off, this is actually the main reason why I like to take this whole thing off. If you're doing coilovers or something, it's a little bit different, but we don't have to mess with this bolt at all. We don't have to take it out. We don't have to replace it. We don't have to spread the hub apart and just leave it alone. So this is the way I like to do it with springs only. Fair warning there. Ugh. There we go. That'll at least hold it in place while we get the axle in the rest of the way, which is this guy off here. All right. There we go. Hashtag one-time use bolts only. So for getting the top aligned, I actually found getting it kind of lifted up, floor jack is the way to go. The bolts on the 034 hat are much shorter than the factory ones, and I really struggled to get the other side on, so, ow! Ow. Yeah, so whatever I was saying, I don't even remember. Here's the difference in length of the bolts. I did ask 034 about it, they said they were fine, so. Okay. These are actually Mark 7 plates, by the way, but they're all, so much of this stuff, 7 to 8, is exactly the same. Oops. Also, what is exactly the same 7 to 8 is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. What I forgot to tell you is that these bolts aren't 13 millimeters, they're 12. 12 millimeter bolts, not 13. And torque to 30 Newton meters. You know, I've been trashing on these springs pretty hard. They actually drove pretty decent. Man, the selling springs as adjustable springs that aren't technically adjustable really gets my gob. What are some, crows my rooster. Really crows my rooster. You notice I got the wheel cap off. I'm doing that so I can tighten down the axle bolt once the car's on the ground. You do need to snug it up, I think like 30 Newton meters off the ground, and then it's like 200 plus 180 or something like that. We will do that to the back. You always got to have your head on a swivel, and you should also always have your safety glasses on. Last time I tried to wear safety glasses, I poked myself in the face with them. Okay, on to the back. Here's the fun story about the back springs. So, these are progressive springs, and normally, a lot of times the diameter of the top and the bottom will be different, so it's clear which way the spring goes, whether it's this way or this way. I wasn't sure, so I looked on H&R's website, and what they said was, if that's the case, if the same top and bottom, to put the coils that are closer together towards the top, which would mean that it would install this way. But when you do that, that means the words are upside down. So that's either a terrible job of planning and putting it so that when you install the springs, the words were upside down. I get it. It's stupid and petty that I would be annoyed about that. But I'd still be annoyed about it. Because in my mind, it should go like this. So I called H&R, and they looked it up, and he's like, yeah, you should install it with the closer coils down at the bottom. So if you buy these springs, this is how you install them. Top, bottom. I called H&R to confirm. Really, I only feel good about it because it justified and confirmed the thing I wanted it to be. So 100% confirmation bias. You see me almost do something real stupid there? Luck favors the stupid. I'm a pretty lucky guy. I used to have a mentor that would always say, I'd rather be lucky than good. I would rather be both. Ooh, we almost made another fatal mistake. This is why you do this first. That's why I made such a big deal about it the first time, is because this is what happens. You work from the outside in, you don't see it, then you do something dumb. See? Do it first. Do as I say. Not as I do. 800 years later, luckily I still had this arm supported with the jack. The funniest part about that is we were literally just talking about I'd rather be lucky than good. And I got mega lucky. I don't remember which happened first, the chicken or the egg, but okay. This one, no mas. We got to take our wheelhouse liner. We're also going to replace this arm right back here. This is the arm that has our camber adjustment, and we're going to replace that one with a little more adjustable-ated one that is kind of tricky the way it is, but when I show you, it'll make a little bit more sense. So, I bid on a car on Cars and Bids that has 12 minutes left thinking, surely I'll get outbid, but no, oh, someone upbid. Oh, thank God. But also, if someone buys this car for $38,000, that is a steal for a Spectrum car. Whew. Now I'm worried it's going to be worse and I'm going to start bidding up the thing just to win it. DFLO outbid me by $2,500. Sorry, $500. What do? I'm out. I'm outbid. So I'm like safe. My wife won't kill me. But at 38 grand, there is money to be made. Now I don't know how to feel. I was like angst-ridden, full of anxiety. Now I'm a little bummed. I don't think I can work until this car is sold, so we're gonna take a brief intermission here. Eli, play him some fun music or something while we wait for this countdown to go down. Okay, well, back to work. So I actually didn't end up winning that auction, which I'm not gonna lie, is probably for the better. I didn't really want to have to explain to my wife why all of a sudden I need $40,000. That car ended up going for $52,000. There was a point where I was close to bidding again. There really was. Anyway, we got to get back to it. Pulled the wheelhouse liner off. And now we have to get our shock absorber out. We got to take the bump stop that came with the ST springs out and put our factory one back in. I'm all twisted up right now. Jeez. I'm just picturing the look on my wife's face when I screenshot her that, like, hey, honey. See, the problem is, she said, I sent it to her and she's like, oh, I really like the color. And the only thing we can, like, extract from that is, oh, I like the color also means buy it immediately. I mean, that's just logic. There's a WhatsApp group we have with a bunch of Spectrum owners, and I posted in there, I was like, okay, I just bid on it. I'm not alive anymore. Eli, you're gonna have to take over the whole channel. I will be giving these away at some point in time, probably on like Instagram or something, so if you don't follow me there, you should. Yeah, so next up, we are going to replace this arm in the car. It sits like this. Through here is where the eccentric bolt goes for camber adjustment. So that's a bolt that as you rotate it pushes this in and out. This also has adjustment on the outside, so this goes through the knuckle. These also come with a bracket that holds the wire loom. This is actually meant for Mark 7, and our bracket doesn't fit with our wire loom, so I just took it completely off. Now, important to note, you have to kind of do a pre-adjustment on this before you put it on the car. And once I get this other one out, I'll show you how I set it up initially and then the adjustment that I make. So the way these work, eccentrics, is there's notches in the subframe that this washer sits in. And then you'll see this bolt has a thing cut out, so it's offset. As you rotate the bolt, it slides the arm in and out. So this is how you make your camber adjustment. And then there's another one for toe adjustment. So here's the arm we're replacing. So the way we're gonna set this up is we're gonna do a pre-adjustment. The factory camber bolt goes here, and you have about a degree of camber adjustment just on this bolt. And what adjusting this does is it kind of resets your zero position. So normally you'll have a range of this where camber could be adjusted. What we do with this is we take this range and we move it. So think of this as a major adjustment that's made before you install the arm, and then these on the camber eccentric bolt is the minor adjustment. So what we'll do, we'll take this, we'll take this, I'll slip this bolt through here like that. So that's gonna line these guys up. Then we'll take our outer bolt and we'll run it through. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust this joint so that it's the same length as the factory one, which should be there. So what we've done is we've made these two arms the exact same length. That's not what we want though, because we want to sort of preset this to more negative camber. Not like camber gang negative camber, like race car negative camber. 2 revolutions of this equals 1 degree of negative camber. So we'll go 1/2, 2. Now that's minimal, but my bolt doesn't fit. So this is where we're gonna set this. I'm gonna just snug this jam nut down so that this doesn't move all around on us. So we've made our major camber adjustment, and then when we get the car aligned, they'll adjust this and do the fine adjustment then. Then we'll take it and we'll install this one. So I'm gonna snug that a little bit. Then we're gonna go in and I'm gonna set it back to where it was. When I turn the bolt, you see the whole arm moving. Now the outer part for this is tough. You're kind of fighting 3 different directions. We also need these 2 little washer things. They go, this were our adjustable one, they go like that. So 1 on each side of the L. We're done with that. Meow. Let's put our spring in. Where's that spring? There we go. Stiffy knee. That's why you always only do one side of a thing like this at a time. So you can always look at the other side and go, oh, that's how it was supposed to go. I think that is awesome. I also think we should probably test fit our new wheels and see how they look. Bronzy boys. Okay, so our suspension is all on. We got it aligned, chasing 2.5 degrees of camber in the rear, with factory toe, and our front camber is what it is. You get what the plates give you both in camber and caster. Now, camber does actually dramatically impact toe, and toe has a very small impact on camber. So we had our rear toe, rear camber set, and front toe set only. Drove the car, and man, oh man, so the car drives really well. Now, after installing both the H&R springs, the 034 parts, a couple of things you need to make sure you're aware of. One, you will get a little bit of suspension noise coming from the car. The primary noise I'm getting is dramatic braking and accelerating in the front, and that could be a product of a couple of things. I do think the extra stuff we've put on there is increasing that, but also remember, we've had the suspension apart a ton of times with no proper bolt replacement. That may be attributing to some of it. Now, something else worth noting, with the car all the way off the ground, so wheels at full droop in the back, those adjustable camber arms do hit the subframe a little bit. It's not bad, and there's not really much marking on it, but it's important to note that those do hit just a little bit. I couldn't get it to do it while I was driving. However, if you're driving in a super aggressive, the odds of a back wheel getting picked up off the ground are pretty high. So I'm mega hyped about the fitment. This is really that super meaty boy look that I wanted for this car. I was also gonna have the car wrapped purple, full color change wrapped purple, but when I got a $7,000 quote, I decided to put a nail in that coffin and keep it closed forever, because yikes. On top of that, the film I wanted wasn't available anyway. So as always, of course, I will put links to everything we did down in the description. I am really happy about these H&R springs. The thought of having to adjust those other ones, I couldn't get it out of my head. So at some point on social, like Instagram or TikTok, I'm gonna give those springs away. With that, I'm out. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again next time. Also, I went to drive it to shoot cool footage for you, and it started raining. It actually worked out kind of awesome. So here's what it looks like.